I'll have to look at the settings. The vocal boost may be too much, but I plug my other microphone in, and I think this one does better. Just a general microphone. I think it's putting it on vocal boost may be causing it to muddy. But I knew it wasn't possibly perfect, but I wanted to get that information out just so, uh, again, every day that you don't take down the street camps is a day that, somebody could be harmed or killed, could die because of living in a street camp. As a day less of counseling. So again, holistic counseling is, oh yeah, this thing says something somewhere. There's a title on this. It's not supposed to be there. It's on Facebook. I don't see it here. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, violent crime stats continue. I'll take that off. I don't see it on somebody's cursing right now because they love seeing that. Believe me, their will is a curse. All right, there we are. Let's update it. So holistic rehousing is very important, and I know it got kind of muddied. Look, in the Marshal Service, I'll just explain. In the Marshal Service, you have to almost strong arm, but it's lawful strong arm because we're trying to find a fugitive, and there are limits, and generally we don't go over those limits. And one of the things we used to do, again, the idea where you say I'm going to take your kid, probably won't. When it works, it's sticky to take somebody's kid. We don't want to mess with it. But yeah, we're going to take your kid. And again, you could have your kid taken depending on the situation, right? But generally, we don't want to. So we rather that they tell us where somebody is. And then another one is, there's a reason to have the kid taken, but in most cases. And then the other one will, put you out of housing. We've got marijuana here, and tell us where she is. Now we don't have marijuana here. Again, we don't generally. I'm still the same way. Generally, I don't worry about the little crimes. Marshals don't worry about the little crimes. We don't have time if we're actively hunting fugitives to generally arrest everybody for every crime that we discover. It's just part of it's just part of the business, right? There's enough people in jail anyway. We just got to find that body. Right now, if we found a body in there in the closet, we'd call the local police, homicide detectives, whatnot. So, but again, we have to begin to strategize these things. Again, like I said, there was a day when I woke up. I said, wait a minute, we're taking narcotics users and we're putting them out of housing. So now if the officer doesn't respond to a housing location, they have to respond to a vacant home, a drug den, an alleyway, some camp in the woods. And it's not safe for the officers. It's a lot less likely it's going to be safe for them, the homeless person, unhoused person. The idea to remember also that they're being raped out there. They're using drugs and dying of an overdose. They have nobody to check on them. So the idea of warehousing somebody, metaphysically, I want to say this, and this is why I came back online. Satan will introduce something to manipulate our minds. So, we'd say, well, warehousing somebody is not a good look. But that may be our answer, but not warehousing. Because again, warehousing somebody means that you don't engage in holistic rehousing. You want to and must engage in holistic rehousing. So if they make fun of your warehousing, say we're not warehousing. We are holistically rehousing. So the idea is your warehouse is huge. You got more space in there that you can control than any other place probably in the world. And you begin by you starting with a little section of the warehouse, right? And you start building rooms. It's that easy. If you give them that space, that I think even an 8x11 would be enough, or 8x10. they'll feel like, there's something there for them. They like to have a little privacy. And that, we should understand. We should respect that. That's a large reason why the people that don't stay in the open bay shelters, that's a reason that they leave and they seek that. Again, it's human nature. It's wolf nature, coyote nature, mammal nature, to seek that comfort of that space, that den. So again, a room the size of a small den would work. And again, some people don't even know that's what it is, but I've spoke with people and I've seen it enough to know what it is. Right? And of course, God is with me. So who can be against me? So that's why some people leave. They don't have what they need psychologically as far as that little space, that den. Yeah, it's in our DNA. It offends their DNA. And then maybe who knows, it might be a certain DNA makeup. Some people are still a little more like us Neanderthals. I have to have Neanderthal in my bloodline. I don't think it's possible that I don't. Right. But actually, it might be all Jewish people. I don't know. At least naturally, the bloodline. Right. Says I'm right. Again, I don't say right like that when I talk to you. I only do it when I'm here in a private space because I can't. It's a psychic thing. So if I say right, it means I'm on the right track. But again, Satan could say that too. So I have to analyze whether it's a real right or a fake right. Right? See, it's right. No, I don't hear it in the head when I'm talking to you either. It's just how Hashem handles the communication while I'm speaking. Again, they might want it. So I don't care if they want to make fun of me. It's fine. I've done more than anybody that's ever been on this planet, probably. Right? Metaphysically, at least. Right. I'm just an open channel because I'm reading what you're projecting while I speak. Because we'll send you to hell for it if it's the wrong thing. No, but it just dawned on me one day that we're doing it wrong. There's nothing wrong with a no harm residence. Again, the Democrats have got it to a no harm kind of some space where people can go to use drugs and they can find needles and other things. My opinion is it's not going to work until you have it as a no harm residence, and then from there we can work on our relationship with the people and they can trust us and we can trust them, and then we can get them to that next level. There's a lot of things going on in a lot of people's lives. It could be allergies. Like if you look at somebody, they like, oh, he fell off the wagon again. Well, it could be like all of a sudden in May, when the allergies up, they fell off the wagon. Why? Because they needed allergy medicine. I mean, it's that simple, some of this stuff. No, some allergy attacks can be pretty bad. And it isn't just sniffles. Sometimes you don't even get sniffles. You just feel like, and so the person feels that, and they run down and they grab some meth or grab some cocaine or whatever it is. So we have to work this out. And we have to work on the total person. Again, the idea is that there's modules, and you develop a module package, and then you'll add and take away modules. And in those modules are maybe just a peer coach. But then again, they see a peer coach, and then they also see a psychologist that helps them with other things. They didn't get there overnight. So it's going to take you. They were intensively beat into that person they became. Again, devils know that. Devils know what they do to people. Right? It's the people that don't know what the devil's doing to them to make them have that life. Right? You'll read online that some people don't get what's happening in their life, but they're stable enough. They have enough money. They have enough friends in life. They're not isolated where it works for them. They talk about break-ins, gang stalking. The reason it's on the online like that and they allow it is because it kind of makes it kind of stupid. Oh, it's just gang stalking. Oh, it's like a folk tale, an urban legend. No, people actually do that. And they get paid by narcos and sex traffickers and dirty cops. And some are dirty cops. Right. And they break in, they keep breaking in, trying to put shit in your mind. Maybe even drug you a couple times so you know you're being drugged. Right. That's the world we live in. The rest is bullshit. If you're not ready to face that, then you're not going to rehouse people. If you're not ready to protect them at that level, then you're not going to rehouse people. Those people will pay in hell. And if you don't control them and you know about it and you're in position to control them, you'll pay in hell. The homeless person's not going to hell. The prostitute's not going to hell. Trans person's not going to hell unless they're the person I say is going to hell, which means they have to actually do something wrong instead of be a victim of people that will weird stuff into people's lives or different type of things or diverse type of things or whatever you want to call it. Right. And they also physically operate. When they can't will it anymore, they get angry and they physically operate. People are physically operated into homelessness or unhoused condition, if you want to call it that. So I got real sick. I mean, again, it was them. I almost positive I was drugged. They break in. They want to make it look like something else so they don't figure it out. So I got real sick all of a sudden because my body tightened up and all this stuff, and it's a reaction to what they're doing. And they know it because they've killed people with it. But I started losing my hearing, and I started having vision problems. So I said, I've been here before. I get somebody to talk to because they isolate me. Or I'd have a million friends. No, they are purposefully using law enforcement, private investigators that work for narcos down the line, criminal spies like Brennan and Tenet, purposefully isolating victims and unhousing victims. So I knew I needed counseling because the only way to stay sane through what they're doing and having all this stuff happen, because that's their plan, load it up, commit suicide like Jonathan Luna. Right. So I ran into this guy. It's weird because God did it. I had a counselor. It wasn't 100%, but it was probably 80%, and that was about as good as it's going to get. Because they'll harass her while I'm speaking to her. Plus, I'm speaking about government agents doing stuff to me. Now in Kansas, they just laugh. Oh, he's just a crazy. Give us money. Just give us money, and you can do whatever you want. Right. But every time I make a complaint, she has to report it. And I don't make a complaint. I'm just talking it out. Right. So, so I see this other guy. I'm like, let me go, because I thought she felt like burdened at a certain point, but I knew it was them. She may not know it's them. Again, unless you're trained or I had a combination of experience and training. I was trained, military and deputy U.S. Marshal and corrections. And then I also had the experience of what they were doing to me. At first they tried to confuse me. Like even through people I could trust, they would put stuff through them like they were trying to help me. And like my friend Jim Spicer was trying to help me, but they bullshitted him. So what he was telling me wasn't anything real. But so I went and I saw this guy and he was so rude to me. And I'm thinking, is he one of them? This is one of the risks of this. The deep state, these criminal psychological operatives, which are here in the United States, and they are schooled in spycraft. It's illegal to do what they're doing. They're doing it. They'll say it's an investigation or an investigative method. But they're running an assassination program that the CIA would run against a foreign leader, against everyday citizens, if you pay enough money. Harvey Weinstein type of stuff. But it would have got nasty. Rose Kate McGowan would have either been, running around naked or dead, like that other woman that was driving that vehicle. And the coroner said, no, she wasn't inebriated. Because they tried to say, oh, she's inebriated. That's another trick of the spies. Jonathan Luna is this. Haig was her name or something. Haig or something like that. Right. Anne Haig or something. They killed her. The spies killed her because she was part of the anti-Harvey Weinstein thing. So they wanted to show everybody, you say anything, this is going to happen. They didn't stop. They didn't get arrested. The FBI patted them on the back. Hey, do that for us. CIA patted them on the back. Hey, do that for us. Here's a couple more government programs, a couple more government contracts. But I'm talking to him, and I'm thinking he's one of them. But, I'm not, because I know how to handle it. in the end, it turned out he thought I was one of them. It was a telehealth. So I'm on there with him, and I'm talking about what's going on, and we're talking and talking. And he goes, did they try to run you off the road? So what happened is they tried to run him off the road. So somehow he got involved. One of his clients, I don't know if he knows how it happened. Most likely one of his clients was probably a target of the deep state. The deep state isn't Democrat or Republican. It's in all political parties. It's a criminal entity that runs behind the scenes. Right. And the reason why we can't stop narcotics yet. So that what we're doing here is when we go overseas to stop the money, that's going to dry up their funds to pay people and to pay dirty cops and dirty PIs and everything. Right. That's the only thing that happened in my life. The criminals became richer and could pay for more of these people. But now we're trying to cut off their money. So the funny part was he finally said, you may not like what I'm going to say, but if I do take you as my patient, we're not going to stop. You're not going to stop going out. You're not going to stop this. You're not going to stop that. And he just kept going. So I could tell he went through it. So it turned out he was a victim of the deep state. But he thought when I was telling him what was happening, he's like, oh, they're messing with me. It was kind of cold to me. I'm like, what is this? But eventually he started talking to me. He's like, oh, this is real. All right. So when I was talking to him, he goes, yeah, did they try to run you off? Oh, yeah. And the weird part is that inspector, I can't remember his name again, that Matt Fogg speaks about, WS Marshal Inspector. I didn't know that they tried to run him, or they did run him off the road, and then he eventually died. Shortly there, I think like 6 months, a year or something. I don't know. Right. Bill Scott, yeah, Bill Scott. Right. Oh, they were next to me, and what they're doing is they're pacing me and trying to get me to speed. Also, I caught them doing it the other day. I thought, you don't know 100% because it could be metaphysical. It's still them because it's their will. Right. I finally got the speeding ticket that they caused off my record. So they would never let me move into an apartment. Everybody always had nothing that they've advertised they had. It was always something else. Right. So they drive next to you, and they're willing you to drive faster, and they're driving faster, and they're up, they're behind you, they're in front of you, they're on your side. So every so often, one of the ones on the side, and it wasn't an accident, they try to run me off the road. I'm a metaphysical genius. I know exactly what's going on. I may not know the exact person, right? But I was pretty strange with the counselor. So they need counselors. They need counselors that can help motivate them to stay employed. Because everything that's going to happen is going to tell them that they shouldn't be employed. But again, if they're being hit by a dirty cop or a dirty PI because they witnessed, some crime, it's just one of the basic ideas, their bosses are going to fire them. The boss is not going to go through it just to keep a homeless guy or rehoused guy or gal employed. But again, it requires a lot. And again, bring the police department in. Have them be part of it. Have the police department welcome these people. So what happens is you have a community officer. It's not only a community officer that shows up. When you take a rehoused person and you introduce them to their house, you have police officers there, the patrol officers, with your community officer that's assigned to the rehouse program, and they introduce themselves. Again, they give him a magnet for the refrigerator. Say, welcome home, precinct 10 or whatever it is. Some bag of chips, like a little welcome package. A Gatorade. And you just be honest about it. Again, the law enforcement officer is probably a left out person. That's a very integral person that has been left out of these things. And again, we have our social worker, someone. Again, Mayor Zoran, I don't remember his last name exactly. I'm going to go through Mondani. So he has to look at the social worker program that they're using. We don't want it to just be another police officer. But again, they have to be help. They have to support the police officers, and the police officers support them. But we want them to independently patrol. And once we get our AI increased, it's going to be very important. So we need to have them established now. It's kind of a social patrol. The AI is going to know, like if people, we don't want the cop to have to respond. We want the social person, like if the AI knows that at 10 a.m. on whatever in Broad, 15 people meet, and then they go about their business dealing narcotics or using narcotics or whatever. We want our social worker there. Hey, how you doing? And then what they have is they have cards. They got to hand out cards, like we do with investigations and everything. Our social workers, our street patrol, our social worker. It's not what's going on today. It's a little bit more. And they have, again, the way to run it is similar. Remember the state police? The state police in Maryland had their pilots were state police officers at first. I think they used the retired ones after that or something. But it was the state police officers, and there was a guy I knew who was a first sergeant. He was a medic on the helicopter. So one of his jobs was to go to the trauma center and attend their meetings. He said it's scary because medicine is not perfect. So you get the insight, He's like, oh my God, we're all doomed. He was I had to pick him up in the morning at a park and ride, and we had to go somewhere. I think it was to pick up a in custody witness, like a WITSEC thing, a local WITSEC thing. And he had just spent the night on patrol. I guess he was in the helicopter, but he was on the ground, and they were at a vehicle, and there was a fire police officer directing traffic. And he said he was standing right there looking at the guy, and a vehicle came by and knocked him out of his boots. He says his boots were right there on the ground. And his body just went, and just really messed him up. So the whole morning, he was just like talking out. And I just had like a big cup of coffee. I'm like, I'm like, no, not now. Not now. This is torture. So he's talking this thing out. When you wake up with not enough sleep, you take an extra big cup of coffee to get down the road. And then he wants to talk about this. That's okay. I was there for it. But so his whole thing was that he met with the trauma teams and the doctors, the big doctors and everything, and go and attend their meetings. So our social work on the street needs to attend meetings in the facilities, whatever serves that area, the social facility, even the the psychological facility, EMS people, maybe even. So eventually, once we develop AI, there's going to be like a social patrol, an intelligent social patrol. There'll be places before anything happens. So again, like the idea, like when you know there's crime, you start positioning officers on those streets. AI will predict those crimes and also move officers. But what we won't want the system to do is to treat it socially first. But because of AI, and again, we could do it today, we just don't have enough people. It's like the idea, the system is this, I kick you out of housing. Right. But it doesn't make any sense. It's like officers, actually Hashem gave me the vision. Officers are like, okay, no more, we can't do that because see, if I step to the left any further, I'll fall off the side of the earth. It's not dangerous. Oh, there goes more off the side of the earth. Now he's hanging out with homeless people. No, you can do it. It makes it safer. It makes it easier. So eventually we're going to outpace the ills that cause crime. Again, I think genetics is going to be part of that one day. So again, get back to where we are. It's not intelligent to do some of the things we've been doing. It made more work. Again, like you cut money here. Like some of the money Elon cut, and everybody does it. Some of the money Elon cut is going to cost us more money in the long run. But on the paper, it looks good, right? That's the way law enforcement. On paper, it looks good. We develop paper to make it look good. Here, fill this form out. See, it's perfect now. The best one was the FBI. The FBI developed this statement they would make. No, we don't do that because that's not our policy. Oh, okay. That's bullshit. You do it. Right. So again, we just have to do intelligent things. There's no reason that we want drug users in a place where it's difficult to manage it. I would rather a drug user to break up a hotel room that we were renting than to be out on the street breaking into a house and breaking the chair over the owner's head. So again, there's a lot of things that we've done stupid. So like I said, that was one of my most, I think, epiphany moments. Wait a minute. We're putting drug users out of public housing. It doesn't make sense. Although we do need housing location where drug users are treated while they are rehoused. And sometimes that's allowing them to stay on narcotic for a period of time until we get to that point where we think you have to build them up. Right? The people are torn down, they need to be built back up. Again, that guy was offered that. I ended up not going with him, and I think I only went the other person another time or two. I guess I went into the battle mode. The LDS attacked with a sexualization routine. I'm not crazy, all of you. You're criminals. It's a scam. But we do charity. Well, it's in the Bible. Paul spoke about charity and how it's more important charity of the heart instead of just giving some money because your cronies gave you money to give money because you committed crimes against a member in your pew or somebody in the community. So again, what you're doing, it's actually in one of your video sets. It's got to be CIA because that's like CIA does. Look, we came clean. It's on our website. We don't do that anymore. Look, it's on our website. We're not fake charity. We're real charity because it's on our website. Right. So hopefully everything works out. I'm testing this microphone now. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.